You're watching The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Main studio guest this evening is Mr. James Martinez, wearing another hat, not as the president, but still the president of the Guam Contractors Association, but tonight he's wearing a different hat, and that is the chairman of the Guam Workforce Investment Board, right?
That's correct.
What it is. Good evening, and thank you for coming.
Hey, well, thank you for having me here today, Jess.
Hey, first of all, the Guam Workforce Investment Board. Boy, that sounds like investment board, workforce investment board. Please tell us about this board and what do you guys do?
Well, actually, the Guam Workforce Investment Board oversees the Workforce Investment Act funds that come to Guam to train our local residents who find it a challenge to get training because of financial reasons or otherwise, or other barriers such as babysitting services, transportation, et cetera. So the Workforce Investment Board, which actually falls under the governor's purview, would oversee some of that WIA fund dollars being spent for this type of training.
So basically you guys implement the programs of monies that come in under AHRD, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And the board is comprised of, you have the private sector entity and the public sector representation, right?
That's correct. The Workforce Investment Board actually is a private sector driven board, but we have the partners who support the one-stop career centers. And we have about 9 private sector members on the board, and then along with our partners to include GURA, Guam Housing, the Veterans Affairs Office, and other Government of Guam agencies, public health. And so these are the agencies that actually support the One-Stop Career Center and our partners with the One-Stop Career Center and the Agency for Human Resource Development.
But that doesn't mean that on the public sector side that these are the only maybe agencies that you partner with in regards to maybe temporary employment or not? You have other agencies outside of the public sector entities that are represented that are also maybe partners, not necessarily as members of the board, but as partners as employers, right?
That's correct, and that's where most of your private sector companies come into play. Is they provide the job opportunities for some of the folks that are going through this training at the One Stop Career Center.
Now, in light of, we were talking about this the other day, James, in light of our 13% unemployment rate here in Guam, and actually quite a few percentages higher than the national rate, and I talked about this as James, with the unemployment rate that high, there's got to be a line somewhere, maybe like a procession going on for people looking for jobs, and that's not necessarily the story, right?
That's correct. I mean, there are reasons why people don't go out and look for jobs because probably they can. There's a lot of public assistance that provides them to make a comfortable living without actually having to drive to a job and work 8 hours a day to make a living. What we want to do with the Workforce Investment Board is to provide opportunities for those who really are sincere about getting into the workforce. How can we help these folks be productive members of society and provide them with training so that they can upskill their level of whatever they choose to do. And so AHRD and the One Stop Career Center and the Guam Workforce Investment Board have also authorized partners in training some of these folks through Guam Community College, Mariana's Training Center for Allied Health, the GCA Trades Academy, which we established 5 years ago for construction trades. So these are the training partners that are out there providing the service for these clients that fall in the program.
Now, James, how do you combat the fact, and we talked at great length about this yesterday, how do you combat the fact that we have a lot of public assistance programs, and a lot of it, of course, to families that are very needy, definitely, but there are entities as well, right? There are individuals as well that say, why should I be trained? Why should I get a job and make this much when if I do get a job, I don't want to make more than this, because then my public assistance will be cut that much, if not more, and then I won't have that. And so, I mean, that's exactly what
and that goes on every day, and it's again, it's it's a fault of the system. Actually, it's a disincentive for someone to actually go out there and look for work and pay their taxes, get some kind of training, get some kind of skill to keep this job. There was a survey that was done, and I don't remember what agency or what education facility did this several years ago, that showed with all the food stamps, the housing allowance, babysitting services, transportation services, it all amounts to probably close to $40,000 a year in public assistance. Now, if I was getting all that $40,000 a year in public assistance, why would I want to get up in the morning at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, get ready and go to work?
And maybe as an entry level, again, the minimum wage, right? I mean, there's no incentive for that.
That's correct.
This point.
Exactly.
But how do you combat that then? I mean, how do you say, well, hey, wait a minute. At some point, it's going to end, and then for you to further continue this assistance, you have to be showing that you are actively looking for work. If you are an employable person, I mean.
No, and you're absolutely right. I don't really have an answer to that, other than, people just need to have that pride of working and earning their own money. But the government is not helping by giving them an incentive to not work. Like I said, if you get $40,000 in public assistance, every year, and where's the incentive to get off the program? And these folks, I mean, it's just a cycle, a vicious cycle that keeps repeating, because they have kids and they're going to grow up and they're going to get those assistants, and it just keeps on going and going and going. And they'll find all these loopholes to, I guess, reintroduce themselves back into that program.
Back in the system, yeah.
And again, there needs to be a way to stop that and maybe prevent those things from happening. And I'm sure, like the public health who oversees the program are looking at ways on how to eliminate the abuse of this program.
Well, we'll talk more about the programs that they're offering down there, and who in the community can avail themselves to these programs when we come back.
Violator.